Here's everything you'll need if you want to build a PC. Up first, you're going to need a CPU, which is like the brains of your computer, and you're going to need a cooler for that. A lot of these actually come with them. Next, you're going to need some memory or RAM, which is really easy to find. Then you're going to need some storage, aka a hard drive or an SSD. And next, you're going to need graphics cards. With this day and age, if you're using any kind of editing or video games, this is what you'll need. Now, this is a power supply for everything, all your components, so you'll need that. And then up next, you're going to need a motherboard, and this is what you're going to connect and put everything into. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Let's raise the retention arm and place our CPU in. There are triangles both on the motherboard and CPU that you line up. Next, we need the cooler, but for this, we're actually going to need to take off the brackets of the motherboard so this fits properly. So let's go ahead and take these off. When installing a cooler, you're going to need some thermal paste. This is the kind that I like, but some of these coolers actually come pre-applied just like this one. Let's install it. Now that that's installed, let's plug in our cooler to our motherboard. This is going to give it power and control the speed. Then we can clean up the cables and put in our RAM. Let's install our storage. This is an M.2 which plugs directly into the motherboard. This one we're going to take off the heatsink and then we're going to plug that in. Now, make sure you take the plastic off because we don't want to insulate this. Plugging in our M.2, we're going to go ahead and screw that heatsink right back on there. One of my favorite things is installing a graphics card. You're going to see it has a missing tooth. It just plugs in right to the motherboard. Just slide it on in and then you'll hear a click. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and plug in all of our power to the motherboard, to the CPU, and then obviously to our graphics card. Once we do that, we can go ahead and use this as the test bench to make sure everything's working. We're going to use our screwdriver to bridge the connection and make sure everything's working, and as you can see, and another way with a nice motherboard, you can actually use your finger because it actually has a power switch on the motherboard. We are done.